Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and Spider-Man No Way Home's latest surprise is the way the Spider-Verse villains seem to be getting an MCU makeover. Not just with the marvelous de-aging technology, but as if Kevin Feige looked them all up and down and said, well, I'll tell you what, throw a little hot rod right in there. Dr. Octopus is confirmed to have acquired the Stark Tech Nanotech from Peter's Iron Spider armor. So the question is, how? Given that Doc Ock's arms were built in a separate universe, seemingly without Tony Stark and his technology, and is this transfer something Doc Ock intended to happen, or something happening outside of his control? I'm gonna break down the technological history of this nanotech, why exactly it's so seamlessly compatible with Doc Ock's arms, and what this union between Octavius Tech and Stark Tech tells us about a possible link between these two great thinkers as these worlds are colliding. Let's start by breaking down the timeline of the visuals from the release footage so far. In the earlier stages of the bridge battle, Otto attacks Peter, who suits up with his Iron Spider armor, with Otto using his Doc Ock arms from the 2004 films, the titanium steel segmented arms and claws controlled via a busted neural link fused into his spinal cord. Mistaking this Peter for his Tobey Maguire Peter, he says,
"Hello, Peter.
Do I know you?
You think your fancy new suit's gonna save you?"
And after coiling Peter in the arms and clawing at his head, Peter seems to break free using his own golden mechanical arms, and Otto responds,
"Looks like we got competition."
After which, both of them end up beneath the bridge, where the red nanotech spills onto Otto's arms, and Peter, you'll notice, is left with less than 100% of his nanotech and has to transfer his helmet nanobots to his open chest region at the last second, and we know he's not totally successful because his necktie later appears severed. And during this transference, Doc Ock looks surprised. However, I don't think Peter is intentionally spreading his nanites onto Doc Ock in order to restrain him, like a kind of handcuff maneuver, as some of you have suggested, because even after having the red nanobots spread onto his arms under the bridge, Doc Ock restrains and attacks Peter again from that point forward, and during this moment, Peter says,
I am so confused right now.
So Peter's confused, Doc Ock is confused, who's doing the transference? I think the claws themselves. But really the confusion comes in how these nanobots are Lego brick compatible with Doc Ock's arms if he came from a different universe. Tony Stark's nanotech until now seemed to be an invention unique to the MCU. We actually first saw him tinkering with nanotech back in Iron Man 2 in a deleted scene.
Damn it. I hate this thing.
My nanoball?
I don't want to play with your ball.
And then after Civil War, Tony successfully engineered a full nanotech armored suit in the form of the Iron Spider suit, revealed at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, and in his own Mark 50 armor revealed in Avengers Infinity War. Last year, the Wakanda Files book released by Marvel confirmed that Tony was only able to complete these nanotech suits after receiving notes on nanotech from the Wakandans and their vibranium suit technology, which similarly spill out from a chest-based container. So this history of nanotech armor, therefore, would seem to be specific to the MCU, not to the Raimi trilogy continuity where Doc Ock comes from. But not so fast, because if you go back and rewatch the Raimi trilogy films, as I have, scouring them for Spider-Verse crossover clues, because I knew this day would come, there are actually quite a few details included in those films by Sam Raimi, perhaps unintentionally, but nonetheless left the door open in a way that No Way Home could totally use to justify how Doc Ock's arms are now compatible with MCU tech. Open doors that we should never want to fix.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Yes, obviously I've been staring at the screen for a lot of this, and if you're like me and you spend a lot of your days staring intently at screens, you might notice your eyes feel heavy and you have problems sleeping. Well, blue light damages our eyes and leads to digital eye strain. Symptoms of digital eye strain include blurred vision, headaches, dry, watery eyes, tendencies to see Mephisto everywhere, and for some folks, this can even affect your energy level. Well, Blue Blocks was created to fix this problem and block out the blue light with high quality lenses. Thanks to Blue Blocks for sponsoring this video. Blue Blocks are evidence-backed and made under optics laboratory conditions in Australia. The founders were unhappy with the quality behind leading blue light blocking glasses brands, so they made their own. And they have over 40 styles of frames and come in prescription, non-prescription, and readers. So they have frames for every need. And Blue Blocks currently has their Black Friday sale campaign campaign running, which is great news for you all as you can save 25% off all products until November 30th, ordering some of their great products during this mega sale. Go to blueblocks.com to save 25% today. That's blueblocks.com, BLUBLOX.com, and the 25% discount code is automatically applied at checkout. And thanks again to BlueBlocks for sponsoring today's episode. So all the way back in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, there was an exchange between Peter Parker and Norman Osborn the first time they met, and like all the lines in those movies, it's a moment you probably know better as a meme.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
I read all your research on nanotechnology. Really brilliant.
And you understood it?
Yes, I wrote a paper on it.
Impressive.
I know, I'm something of a Willem Dafoe fanboy myself. Norman Osborn, before leading up Oscorp as an executive board glad hand, screamed about how much he sacrificed. He himself was a tinker and engineer who pioneered nanotech, which, yes, in the context of this film was more likely to refer to any hardware-saving microengineering, yet still evidence that Oscorp possessed some groundbreaking nanotechnology. Of course, Norman Osborn died before Oscorp hired Otto Octavius.
Oh.
That decision was made by Harry Osborn when he took over in Spider-Man 2. But it was clear that Oscorp was fully funding Otto Octavius's experiments, supplying him with all kinds of resources, down to the tritium fuel supply.
I'd like to thank Harry Osborn and Oscorp Industries for providing it.
Meaning it is possible that Octavius's smart arms were built using Oscorp proprietary hardware, including Norman Osborn's nanotech. Octavius built those arms to be controlled by a neural link fused into his spinal cord with an inhibitor chip that kept his cerebellum in control of the arms. But when the accident fries that chip, the arms take over, which the movie shows by turning the white lights in the claws red. Not until the end of the movie, when the red light flickers back white, does Otto regain control of the arms. Spider-Man No Way Home is now clearly maintaining that color scheme, showing Doc Ock's claws with glowing red lights, meaning the arms are still in control, including the shot of the red nanotech spreading on those arms, meaning it was the arm's decision to absorb the nanotech, not his. In the MCU, the nanotech armor of the Mark 50 in the Iron Spider must be neurally controlled, because often Iron Man and Spider-Man are able to activate functions in that armor, or at least have it initially spill out over them without any vocal command. So that neural link plus the nanotech compatibility gives Doc Ock at least the technical capacity now to absorb this Stark tech. But beyond this, there may also be a more multiversal explanation to this synchronization. With J.K. Simmons playing alternate versions of J. Jonah Jameson in both the MCU and the Raimiverse before Doctor Strange's spell mixed anything up, that may be implying there are already various parallels in place among these separate universes before they spill into each other. You'll remember back in the 2004 Spider-Man 2, Jameson brainstormed nicknames for Doc Ock in a pitch session.
What are we gonna call this guy?
Dr. Octopus.
That's crap.
Science Squid?
Crap.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good. But it's taken.
A joke, but also an acknowledgement that in the Raimiverse exists a doctor named Stephen Strange. We never saw Doctor Strange in the Raimi films, so we don't know if he was referring to the fact that he was just a famous physician or a freaking wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
But if Doctor Strange can exist in this alternate universe, why not an engineer named Tony Stark, an alt-universe Tony Stark, who might have even been colleagues with Otto Octavius? Since if you think about it, both Otto Octavius and Tony Stark in the MCU ended up being focused on creating renewable energy sources for public use. As we saw Tony Stark doing at the beginning of the Avengers film, hooking up an electricity hardwire at the bottom of the river, using his Stark Tower as a way to power the entire city's grid. So, showing Doc Ock's arms already compatible with MCU Stark tech is just one little visual example of how the MCU might plan to blend elements and characters from previously separate franchises into the framework of the universe they've already built, by making these characters simply unquestioningly familiar with MCU faces and MCU tech by saying, there's a version of this and a version of you from where I come from. Except where I come from, Tony Stark looks a bit more like Tom Cruise, and he is nuts. Doesn't have to be Tom Cruise. It could be anyone. I'm just giving an example. But hey, you can support New Rockstars by checking out our merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis and breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.